Welcome back to Dawn of the Zeds, 3rd edition. We're playing a solo basic game. And yes, the first thing we do is we pull an event card. So let's figure out what we have for our lovely event this time. And we have well-armed civilians. That sounds good. So of course we ignore the first 3. We're on to the Zeds phase, which means we have the forest track and the mountain track. We have Zeds moving. Alright, so let's go ahead. We're going to do that first. So first up, we have the forest track. I think that's the first time we've seen that so far. Alright, so over in the forest track, we have a 5-strength zombie unit. They are moving 1 space up here to Route 6. Still far away from our defiant characters here. Next up is the mountain track. Alright, so on the mountain track, we have the beaten up strength 2 Zeds unit are moving right up here. There will be a hand-to-hand combat. Now we can either have our units don't stack, so that's not a 5. So we have to pick one to defend. I think we should pick. We're going to pick our veterans. They have a strength of 3. The Zeds have a strength of 2. So we have human advantage. Plus we get a +1 shift on hand-to-hand combat. So we should be able to do pretty well here. So we're currently at human advantage. We're going to get humans ×2. So we're going to be rolling down this chart. We're going to see what we can do to this weakened Zeds unit with our veterans. Alright, let's see if they can get a good roll. And they get an 8. Ooh, I think that's going to be good. So far, the dice have been very kind to us in this game. Alright, so we rolled an 8, and we are on the human ×2. If we look at an 8, 3 damage to the Zed units, nothing to our units. And these only have 2 health remaining, so boom, they are absolutely crushed and destroyed by our veterans. Back into the regular zombie bag they go. Alright, that was movement. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of the card with the well-armed civilians. Alright, let's take a look at the rest of this card, because now we're on to the action phase. We get 2 actions, so we're going to get 2 on our clapperboard here for actions. At the beginning of this phase, place the well-armed marker on any regular civilian units in play. Until it ends up in the cemetery, that unit receives a +1 shift in all hand-to-hand and gunfire combats. Ooh, that is sweet. So what's the well-armed? Well, the well-armed is this little token here. And of course on the back it has a +1 shift. So now we have to decide which regular unit gets that. Now we can't have our elite veteran heroic civilian unit, but we can pick any one of the regular ones that we still have out there. I've got to think about which one we want to give that to. That's a plus shift on both hand-to-hand and gunfire. That is really, really good. Alright, up here on the forest track, I've decided to give these regular units the well-armed, and the reason being is they have a 4 strength, so this is going to give them a +1 shift hand-to-hand as well as range, so that's our strongest civilian unit that we have. We've pumped them up. They got a 5 strength zombie unit moving up the forest track, so maybe if they get here they can shoot at them and knock them down a bit. So that's the idea. Alright, we're going to zoom out. We have our player action, and we have 2 other actions for the rest of this turn. Alright, for our first regular action, we are going to have Mr. Johnson move 1/2 to the Lucky Strike Mine. And he's a good scavenger. He rolls 2 dice on scavenging. And the reason we want him at Lucky Strike Mine is if we look at the foraging table here for the mine, if you roll a 4 or 5, you get an ammunition. If you roll a 6, you get 2 ammunition. And he rolls 2 dice, so his odds of getting us ammo is really high. So that's why we're putting him there. That was our first action. We have another action remaining. We also have a player action. And the deputy has his initiative action. So I've got to think again what we want to do and with what characters or civilian units. Alright, so for our last regular action, we're going to have Captain Piazza shoot at this zombie horde, and she's at a range right now of 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, And so she is going to be rolling a power of 3 on the gunfire table. So let's go ahead, spend an ammunition and that one action, and she's going to shoot at this giant horde down here because we've got to whittle them down a bit. All right, 2 dice. Can she get a good roll? Let's hope so. Oh man, we are just smoking on the rolls. So she gets a 10. And she is at a strength 3 on the gunfire. So 3 on the gunfire. If we look down at a 10, she does 2 hits. Now you can divide the hits up any way you like. And you're allowed to look at the back of these. That becomes a 4 and that becomes a 3. Oh man, this is a tough horde. We're going to put both hits on the strongest unit, on the 6 Zed unit. And that's going to give them a couple of damage. Well, that's at least something. Alright, we have a player action remaining, and we also have Deputy Dog here, Deputy Schmidt. He has his own action to do, so I got to think about what we want to do with him and what we want to do for our player action. Alright, well we don't really want to move Deputy Schmidt anywhere, so we're going to have him do a scavenge, or foraging action right here. And he's just on any other named space, so he basically needs to roll a 6 to get an ammunition. And I mean, he can only use this initiative action on himself, so we'll go ahead and use it for him to try to forage. We'll see if he can find anything. If he rolls a 6, he will. Otherwise, no, he rolls a 2, so he does not find anything as he goes foraging. Alright, all we have left is one player action, and I've really got to try and figure out what we want to do with it. I think I know what we might do with it. Alright, our best forager here, Mr. Johnson, is in position. We're going to use the player action on him to do some foraging. Now remember, if he rolls 2 dice to forage, so that is really good. And we find 1 ammunition on a 4 or 5, and we find 2 on a 6. And if he rolls doubles, he gets to do them both. Well, he gets a 6. That's 2 ammo. Right on. So he finds 2 ammunition. We're going to move that from 7 to 9. Oh, and one little thing I forgot. These regular units, even though they were not the ones attacked, when the Zeds moved into this space, they lose their defiant marker. They can now move around without staying in place. All right, let's take a look and see what else we're going to do. Alright, we're basically into the housekeeping phase. So we finished with all of our actions. We're going to discard that card. So we went from 7 to 9 ammo from Mr. Johnson's foraging ability. We're going to flip back over our player marker, the initiative token for Deputy Schmidt. And I did say I was going to do more than 1 turn an episode, but you know what? In keeping with my original Dawn of the Zeds 2nd edition version that I did 9.5 years ago, we're going to keep them a little short and simple. We're going to do 1 episode per event. I know, it's going to take a while to get through this, but that way I can try and catch anything, errors and such. So down here right now on the suburbs track, we have a beaten up 5 strength unit. They're going to be intercepting these guys. Unfortunately, they're only 2, although they did an excellent job. We rolled 12 with them last time. So we've got a pretty good buffer going on here. We got Deputy Schmidt, these guys, and we got this zombie horde down here, which has a couple of damage on now from Piazza's sharpshooting. Up in the mountain track, it's completely cleared off now, which is excellent for foraging ammunition. And on the forest track, we got a 5 strength on their way to our well-armed, defiant 4 strength unit. And we got our mayor in town, and he's also sitting here with a civilian unit. So that's how we're going to end off for today. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. This is Dawn of the Zeds. It's the 3rd edition. We're doing a basic game. Yeah, we're going to do 1 event card per episode. There are some event cards that are kind of just really, really bad things happen, and then you just pull another card. So we'll get to 2 of those when we get to those. So we probably have about 10 or 11 more episodes to go. So thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Continuation Dawn of the Zeds. We're playing it solo. We're playing the basic game. But of course, we have a correction here at the end of the episode. It has to do with start spaces. It says clearly right here, start spaces. Hand-to-hand combat never takes place on start spaces, nor can gunfire attacks be made into or from start spaces. These spaces represent vast areas outside of your concern. What that means, unfortunately, is the nice shot that Piazza did down here on these zombies is not going to happen. So we're going to retrieve that ammo because she can't shoot into this space, which is unfortunate because that's a 10 strength mob. So we do have an action left over, and what we're going to do with our leftover action is we might as well have, we can either have a unit move somewhere, or we can have Mr. Johnson scavenge again, and I think we're going to have him scavenge once more, because more ammo is just better. And we can have a maximum of 20. After that, any excess is ignored. So he's going to scavenge again. He gets another 6. That's going to be 2 more ammunition. That is absolutely awesome. So instead of 10, this will flip over. It has a plus 10 on it. We now have 12 ammunition. Sweet. I guess we can put it that way. We have 12 ammunition. Right on. Okay, that corrects that error. Yes, you cannot shoot into start spaces, nor can you do hand-to-hand. All right. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Continuation Dawn of the Zeds, 3rd edition, the basic game solo.